This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Alain Poupart. How you doing, baby? How you feeling?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm a little better that they won. I'm glad that the boys were able to hang in there, and don't worry about it. Well, he'll get that board out of your face in a second. There, don't worry about it. There you go. All right, so overall, pretty good performance. Sucks that at the end they kind of allowed them back into the game, but I mean they did enough to win. How would you assess the win overall?
Well, before I talk about the win, I'm going to pump my tires and say that I predicted the Dolphins would win this game.
Okay.
And in doing a check of
By the
national,
way, you're one of the few that picked them to win.
oh no, I was about to say that in doing my weekly checkup of national picks, everybody had New England winning, and I was like, first of all, there are several reasons why I thought the Dolphins would win. One of which was I don't think New England's that great.
I agree.
Kudos to them for making the playoffs, but that's not a great team over there. And the Dolphins are the Dolphins.
They got a good defense, but their offense isn't anything special. I'm with you all the way.
To me, they're extraordinarily similar to the Dolphins, and maybe a slightly bit better.
Yeah.
In a lot of different areas. No, but today, what's interesting is you look back at this game and then look back at last year's game in Miami against New England. Dolphins just pounded them on the run. 250 yards last year, 190, I believe 190 this year. Duke Johnson, another big game. And why in the hell did it take so long to get this guy involved?
Why didn't they stay with him last week? I mean, 7 for 49.
Yeah, but that game got away, and I don't think it would have made a difference. But I mean, the guy runs hard. No, and it was kind of a typical formula. I mean, you look at Tua's passing numbers. I mean, and mind you, I will give Tua credit. 2 big time scrambles, including the one in the fourth quarter on the last drive. That was big time. But the passing numbers, he had 17 yards passing in the second half. Mind you, not that they threw a whole lot, but still, again, the Dolphins finished with less than 300 yards on offense. Stop us if you've heard that before. So it was a win that was pretty much defense driven, even though they gave up those last 2 touchdown drives. He had the pick 6 by X on a great play where he just schooled the rookie and left his guy a little bit deeper and knew that Jones was going to look for the shorter throw and steps in front and no, let me take that from you. But no, solid effort. I mean, kudos to the Dolphins for finishing 9-8 after being 1-7. But the bottom line is we're still looking another season out of the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You made me think of the Smiths, right, when you said that. Stop me, ho, 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 stop me. Stop me
if you've heard this one before.
Heard this one before. Yeah, exactly.
Great man.
Yes. Wish I would have seen them live, man. Damn it. I always, I've seen Morrissey by himself. I've seen Johnny Marr by himself, which, by the way, if you ever go see Johnny Marr on his own, it's Johnny Marr and the Messengers is his band, but he does a phenomenal job doing the Smith songs, and he sings it at pretty close to the way Morrissey sounds too, which is pretty amazing. So I saw him at the Culture Room a couple of years ago.
Love that place.
I know. It's a great place to go for a concert because it's so small and intimate.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see the where is it? The Struts. It's at Revolution where I'm gonna see the Struts. I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, I saw them there, and I'm telling you, man, if you get an opportunity to see Johnny Marr on his own, it's really, really, really good, man. He does a really good job overall. All right, so the Duke Johnson thing. I'm not going to get ahead of myself or anything, but if you're the Dolphins, don't you want to bring that guy back at least to see if it was an aberration? Is it real? Can he actually become an every down back? Something he's never been able to do in the NFL. He's always been a pass catcher. But, dude, he ran well last week. You just didn't use him. And then 2 weeks ago, a 100-yard game and a 100-yard game against this week. I mean, how do you not at least try to bring him back for the hell of it?
No question about it. And he made that offensive line look a lot better because there were some runs where he made something out of nothing, whereas the guys before, and no offense to Myles Gaskin, no offense to Savon Ahmed, who, by the way, was inactive again today, those guys, if the hole's there, they'll run through it. But they don't create anything on their own, whether it's make a guy miss or whether it's break a tackle. So I think the Dolphins would be absolutely crazy not to bring back Duke Johnson. Philip Lindsay's in the same boat. His contract's expiring, but of the two, to me, Duke Johnson's the one I would focus on and absolutely bring him back. I don't know that. I mean, I can't imagine it would be much of a bidding war for his services because the scope of his career, it's not like Adrian Peterson in his prime, but he's a serviceable quality running back, and I think the Dolphins would be crazy not to bring him back.
By the way, Will Mansell just tweeted something out that's kind of a fact.
What's that?
The Dolphins have never had a losing season with Tua. I'm just saying. That is a fact. I'm just saying. I just never thought of it that way. I mean, if we're going to say Flo had back-to-back winning seasons, we might as well say you've never had a losing season with Tua. I'm just saying.
Passenger riding a great defense, but okay.
I'm just saying. A coach riding the talent on the field. I'm just saying.
By the way, this brings up a great point. Do you know, I don't know the exact figure coming into today, do you know that Tua's career winning percentage as a starter was 600? He was 12-8.
Right.
Jay Fiedler's record as a starting quarterback for the Dolphins was 36-23.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number, but my math is good enough to know.
Had a great defense with him, yeah. Definitely.
Isn't that the same thing as with Tua? Thank you, Big O. Thank you. It's the same thing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Okay. I mean, Tua, I can't say Tua's a difference maker now. No, I'm not telling you that at all.
Okay.
I haven't said that at all. All I've said is the difference is that if you actually gave him an offense, then maybe he would succeed. He doesn't have a Ricky Williams, right? There's no Lamar Smith. Last time I checked.
Lamar Smith was just fed 50 times a game. Lamar Smith was not a great running back. Let's not kid ourselves.
Well, okay, but that's fine. But he's still better than what they had here right now.
But it's also a different NFL where everything is geared towards the pass. They want the offense to be a quick passing game, which is what they have. And Tua, despite what everybody wants to say, has three good receivers in Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, and Jalen Waddle. So let's just stop with the Tua has nobody around him, and the quarterback can't do anything.
First of all, Devontae doesn't count. That's a terrible example on your part. You have to be available to actually be dependable, my brother. So
Dude, how many games Parker missed?
No, my brother. You never ever say that Devontae Parker is worth anything except being put in the trash. Okay? The guy's never available. So you cannot be relevant if you're not available. And he's constantly injured. He has trouble finishing games. You want to call reliable. Matt Collins is reliable, just never used. Devontae Parker contributes, but isn't reliable and dependable. So Waddle's dependable. Gesicki's dependable, but these idiots don't use him enough. Matt Collins is dependable, but these idiots don't use him enough. I disagree with you. Devontae Parker could never be put on any list that you count on him. Because you cannot count on him.
And Devontae Parker probably is good for at least 10 receptions a year. That would be incompletions thrown to just about every other receiver because he steals catches. And
Devontae Parker has no business starting on an NFL football team, my brother. Devontae Parker Devontae Parker at this point is a backup wide receiver because he cannot play week in and week out, down in and down out. So if you cannot be reliable, you cannot be a starter, my friend. It's impossible. The two are not mutually together at all.
How many games did he miss the past 2 seasons? This year he had some injury problems. Early this year he did. Okay, the past 2 years before this year he was available.
He doesn't finish games. You add those games that you think he played, but he didn't finish the games. So he started
too tight end the entire second half today. That's why he wasn't on the field. Wasn't like he was like wasn't finished game. I mean, are we really going to argue that Devontae Parker's not a good wide receiver? Are we seriously?
No. He's definitely he definitely has the talent to be a good wide receiver, okay. But he's not a good wide receiver because he's not available, my friend. And so if somebody's not available on a consistent basis, you cannot be considered for anything. Devontae Parker should be cut on the spot. There's no need for a guy like that anymore. You cannot have people that cannot line up every week. You cannot have an employee that does not show up at work. You cannot have a writer that chooses that he's too sick to cover an event. Sorry, bro, that just doesn't happen anymore. You can't.
Are you suggesting he's like asking out and wimping out of games that he could
No,
play in?
I'm suggesting that he's too fragile to keep. I'm suggesting that he's that employee that's constantly whining and complaining. There's no difference. You're useless just like that person. If you're too sick to show up or too injured to show up or too lazy to do your job, you're all the same. You don't belong here. Get the F out. And that's what you need to do with a Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker has been given more than enough opportunities on this franchise. He doesn't deserve any more chances, and he doesn't deserve a roster spot anymore, and he certainly doesn't deserve to be labeled, like you said, dependable in any way, shape, or form.
Did I say dependable? Did I say he's a good receiver?
You can't be one of the top 3 receivers on your team if you're not available.
Okay, now, but if we're complaining about the lack of talent around Tua, which is a common refrain around here,
Yes.
you cannot dump good players because they're not as reliable as you'd like them to be. Like I said, I'm going to maintain my point that I saw like half a dozen to 10 catches or balls thrown to Parker that would be incompletions to everybody else, and he bailed too loud and the offense out by making the tough catches. This is not an offense. Again, there is not an abundance of riches at wide receiver on this team. They can't go around dumping guys. Sorry.
No, they can. Of course they can. You dump a Will Fuller, you dump a Devontae Parker, you dump an Albert Wilson, you dump a Preston Williams.
I agree with you on 3 of those 4.
Stop relying on the unreliable, okay? And if you bring back Devontae Parker, you bring him back on a minimum deal loaded with incentives. So that way, if he doesn't play, get the hell out of here and you don't need him anymore. To me, I don't know, man. I'm not big on people you can't rely on. I'm just not big on that. And I don't know how.
I'm not big on like marginal player. I'm not big on Jags, to be honest with you. So, but if you want to take the hard, they can certainly take that approach. Like Reeves, I don't remember how many years he's got left on his contract to approach, and I believe his contract is cuttable.
Yeah,
this offseason. I'd like, unlike Byron Jones, for example. I know you mentioned him as trade bait. His contract's not movable, but
no, I think I'll move the other guy now that because he'll ask for money, and because he had a good year with the interceptions, you can maybe get some value in return now. No knee injuries, no off the field issues. Now's the time to move X just in case down the line, and you can get a lot for him in return. Byron won't, and I know Byron won't give you the return that X is going to give you.
No, but you also can't trade him because of his contract. Nobody's taking that contract.
True.
He's not good enough for that contract. And my problem with trading X is, and I hear what you're saying, his value is never going to be higher. He's good. Him and his agent are going to want more money.
And the knee's going.
Damn, that's a tough player to lose. That's the best player on your team.
Yeah, but that knee's going to give out at one point too. You've had way too many scopes, dude.
Yeah,
it's just and you're getting up to that 30-year mark. Where is he at? 28 now, right around there, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think he's 28. So you better be careful because to me, X is a ticking time bomb. Exceptional player, no doubt about it. But there's baggage that comes with it at times. I think now's the time where you get off on the gravy train and then move. And either way, you know what? They're screwed. They have to play Iggy next year. They have to find out if he can play or not.
I think they already know.
You haven't played him.
But here's the thing too, Big O would tell you is
poor kid hasn't got enough time.
If they go all in to make a push, because next year is going to be Flores' 4th year. If you look at Stephen Ross's pattern, he's not making the playoffs. He's not getting a 5th year. So are we thinking that maybe the Dolphins are going to make a big push to go all in, not necessarily sacrificing the future, but not being in this constant roster building mode, and maybe you hang on to an X because to make that big push in 2022?
Wasn't that supposed to be this year?
No.
Wasn't that supposed to be the push to get into the playoffs this year? Wasn't that supposed to be the idea, right?
I'm not. I know, and I don't even think that Brian Flores ever used those words. Not that he would anyway, but no, I think this
No,
year
Brian
was
never said that,
no, but I think this year was more continuing to build a foundation. And I think this year also was about finding out about Tua.
Did you really build a foundation on the offensive side?
No, but you got to me. You got some answers.
I don't know. I mean, if you force him, I don't think so. I don't think you have any answers on Tua. I disagree with that because I don't think you ever gave him the tools in order for him to succeed. It's kind of like, this week I was explaining on the show. Every quarterback has limitations. Doesn't matter who you are. Okay? One way or another, you're going to have some limitations and you need to mask them. Even if you have Tom Brady, you got to have a great line because he can't move. So you've got to give him his 2 seconds, 3 seconds to make his decision. Or if not, you're dead in the water, just like Pat Mahomes 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, right? He didn't have his offensive line. He got absolutely killed. You have a Lamar Jackson. You know he's not a great passer. So you build the offense for him so he can succeed. Strong offensive line, running game, a bunch of tight ends, those kind of things. You got a Tannehill. Okay, they didn't understand here, but over there in Tennessee, they figured it out. Great running game, offensive line, defense. Keep it simple for the kid. Keep it like Mac Jones. Keep him in a box, short passes, a couple slants. You only need to make a couple passes, kid. We don't need you to carry the offense. These guys get this kid, and they don't build right around them. They don't build the offensive line. You can't run an RPO when you can't run. Because when your run isn't a threat, the RPO ain't going to work, dude. So all these kind of things that they've done, it's been ass backwards. And they have not done what they were supposed to do to build around him. And even Marino, as great as Marino was, the team failed to build around him the right way. You didn't give him the running game. You didn't give him the defense. So sure, he'll go out there and score 35 or 40, but the defense is going to give up 40 or 45. That's not going to help you. It doesn't matter what quarterback you are. You're going to have to build around them and help them in their strengths and weaknesses in order to bring the balance. They have failed completely to do that here for Tua.
Okay, well, not surprisingly, I'm going to take major issue with what you just said. Number one is even though they didn't succeed in every aspect, they did nothing but bend over backwards to help out the kid and make things easier for him. From basically running the offense he ran at Alabama, from hiring a quarterback coach with whom he had a past in Charlie Fry, from keeping the two offensive coordinators, guys who were on the staff last year, so that there's not new guys there, from drafting Jalen Waddle, from getting Will Fuller as a free agent. Even again, like I said, not everything they did panned out. I understand that.
How's it going to pan out when you gave him a quarterback's coach that has no experience? Just because he was with them at a 7-on-7 doesn't mean he knows how to coach in the NFL.
I understand that, but there's
let me debuke these points here. It doesn't matter to me what pieces to the puzzle. They're shitty pieces. You keep two offensive coordinators that don't know how to do the job, dude. And if you run his offense, you're not running. So who cares if you have an RPO if you can't run? You know what was the other thing you said that also had another hole in it? All those things that they tried to do were all failed things. Terrible.
But they tried. That argument that they failed the kid because they didn't try to make life easier for him is completely bogus to me. And here's my other point too.
So you got to build a house to get prepared for a storm. So I'm going to go over there. I'm going to build it with toothpicks and popsicle sticks from ice cream. Is that all right? Because I tried.
I appreciate the help. Here's the more important point. Here's the more important point. Given the skill set we're dealing with at the quarterback position, the ideal RPO is all great. What it needs is a short, quick passing game, which is what the Dolphins went to, which is what led to the high completion percentage. But because of the limitations, both in that offense and in the quarterback skill set, there are certain things you're going to have a problem doing. And again, today we saw it. There's a lot of completions. And like in the first half, he was 12 for 14, but for 92 yards.
Right.
Okay. And I'm saying the margin for error and the way the system is set up with the current quarterback, it's dependent on having a defense that can dominate games. It didn't happen in Tennessee, and they got smoked. Okay, it happened today in the first half, and they built the big lead, and then New England came back, but they still were able to win the game. What happens is if you get a franchise quarterback, say like somebody like I don't know, Deshaun Watson, your margin for error becomes greater because you can have a quarterback who can erase deficits and who can overcome mistakes more easily. And you're shaking your head no, but
He won 4 games last
sorry,
year, bro.
sorry,
He won 4 games
Are
last
we?
year.
Are you, Big O? Are you seriously going to debate Deshaun
I know
Watson
he's
against
awesome.
Tua?
I know he's awesome, dude. I'm not
They would
denying
have won
that.
one game. They would have
I,
won one game
I,
with
I
most
watched
quarterbacks.
awesome for 17 years, my brother.
Who?
And for 17 years, he couldn't erase a defense and he couldn't erase a running game. So all this
Went
stuff.
to the playoffs. He went to the playoffs every year. And number one,
and who cares about that? Again, we're going to talk about the house with Elmer's glue and popsicle sticks. Is that what we're trying to build?
okay, Big O, did you ever think that during all those years with Marino quarterback, the fact that they were so focused on everything going bombs away that they didn't really provide for complementary football, and that the bombs away approach put more stress on the defense?
Yeah,
which is why Jimmy Johnson didn't like the idea of having Marino bombs away, which created problems. And by that time, he wasn't
my brother.
What?
The red gun was faster than anything that the Dolphins ever had with Jim Kelly and the boys, and they had a defense, and they went to.
You mean the K gun?
The K gun, whatever. The K gun was just as quick, and it would strike quickly. And guess what? They had Bruce Smith, and they had Darryl Talley, and they had some nasty ass dudes on that defense. Something that, unfortunately, rest in peace, the old man could never get. Shula could never get. And they had Thurman Thomas, something that Don Shula could never get. So that's just excuses about they scored too fast and the pressure on the defense. You adjust to all of that stuff. Either you can do it or you can't. And Bill Polian was way better at building teams with Buffalo than Miami was. That's all, unfortunately.
That's fair. But if you don't think for a second though that the bombs away approach put more stress on the defense, I don't know what to tell you.
Sure it did. Of course it did.
Okay.
I'm not ever going to argue with that, dude. Of course it did. But we can go way back to the 60s and go.
That's before my time. I can't.
The Chargers and they had open out offenses in Kansas City, and so that's been part of football, that you've had your quick strike type of offenses over the years. But it's up to your personnel department to go find the defensive players to do the job. And Marino, as great as he was, he could never mask a sorry ass defense. And so if that's what we want, if that's all we want, I just talked about this week. I told everybody, I said, hey, I love Marino, my favorite player. It wasn't good enough. And I'm not talking about the player. I'm talking about the era. It wasn't good enough. There was no championships. There was one trip to it, and when you got to it, you realized how far you were, because San Francisco could strike you quick also with Rice and Taylor.
Yeah, but you're also talking about going up against one of the best teams of all time, though.
Foster, Sapolo, Ronnie Lott. They had some nasty, Fagan, former UMer. They had some nasty-ass people that would put your ass in place. So it's more than just finding, Watson. If you don't have the offensive line and you don't have the running game and you don't have the defense, it doesn't matter what your quarterback does. But it's interesting. Like I said this week, Greasy had 25% of the talent of Marino, but he had 4 times the team because he had a monster line.
Right.
Danny only had 2 linemen, the 2 guys on the left side. This guy had all 5. This guy had 3 running backs, not 1. Danny couldn't find 1, but Bob Greasy had not 1, not 2, but 3 running backs in all of this, and a Paul Warfield and everything else. And it's a different ball game. Bob Greasy didn't have to mask jack crap. Why? Because it was a great team that was built the right way.
It's also a different era, though, Big O. You have to realize.
I get that, but we have to get past this thing that we're looking for the one guy that's going to mask everything, because that's misleading.
Okay, except here's what I would tell you, okay? Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Ryan Tannehill, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford. With the exception of Stafford, and you can still make the argument, easily the best quarterback in each division. And guess what? All of those teams win their division.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a great quarterback does, it increases the margin.
Whoa, easy on the Tannehill thing. Easy with
Tell me
great.
somebody else in the AFC South who's better than him.
I mean, Wentz can probably be as good or better than him.
We're talking right now. Are you serious, dude? Are you serious?
No, I'm saying I've watched Well, okay. You know what I am serious about?
Go ahead.
Let's go with his first couple of years. You ever watch Tannehill play like that? No, you never will. Never will. Wentz may have lost his juice. He may not have the same confidence after all these injuries. But please don't tell me you ever saw Ryan Tannehill play like he played the first couple of years at Philadelphia, because he looked like a superstar quarterback at that time. I don't know.
He's lost his game. I mean, he completely lost his game.
What's the name? Nobla. I don't know if he went Chuck Nobla on our ass.
Steve Sachs.
Or remember, it was the Cardinals guy, because I know you can talk baseball.
Steve Sachs went like that too.
That too. But what's the name of the other guy? He turned into an outfielder.
Jim Edmonds?
Ankiel.
Rick Ankiel, yeah.
Yeah. So Wentz may have gone Ankiel on our ass.
He did.
But those first couple of years, you know what I'm talking about, bro.
No, he was good.
That guy played like one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL, easily in those first 2 years. He was
and then this year he has Jonathan Taylor, and they don't even make the playoffs because they completely gagged the last 2 weeks.
He lost his juice, bro. You see?
You're absolutely right.
He's not the same guy.
And the Eagles knew that last year. That's why they weren't real sad about trading him.
Right. Frank is hoping to remold him and rebuild him up, which is what I think is what the next offensive line coach for the Miami Dolphins has to do. Is he has to tear everything down and build it all back up again and hope that he can salvage a couple of these guys next year.
I think there's stuff that's. I think Eichenberg's very salvageable. I think Robert Hunt's salvageable. Absolutely.
I agree.
Austin Jackson, not so sure. I think Dieter can be serviceable. And then you got to find the right tackle. I don't know if you noticed Robert Jones was playing right tackle today.
I know.
Davis.
I saw that. How did he do? Because I didn't really. I'm in a bar, so I can't tell. I'll probably watch it again tomorrow. Did he do all right?
No, correct. And as I'm watching the game, it's like, to me, it's either you're going to see a block that stands out, or you're going to see him get abused. And
yeah,
I didn't see anything that stood out as being really bad.
And it's not fair to judge him either. He needs a lot more playing time to even judge him too. It's kind of
but you want to see. I mean, you want to see how he drops. And again, I didn't see anybody like swing around him like he wasn't there, like
a Jesse Davis, a turnstile type of thing. I get what you're saying.
Well, dude, the guy hasn't been right all year. I mean, wasn't right all year.
Again, dude, we've talked about this. He's Andrew Gardner for me, bro, and I have no problem with that. I love Andrew Gardner. I think everybody needs that guy. That's the utility guy that can play multiple positions and fill in for you. I think Jesse's fantastic in that role. I really do. You don't think so?
That's his best role, but I think he actually, to me, he was okay last year. And then, like I said, this year, to me, he's coming into training camp and talking about knee swelling management.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never heard that knee swelling management during training camp. I've never heard that before. Which that tells me right there that's not a great sign. And then I zoned in on him after one game where he was really bad, and it was like, dude could barely move. I'm like, what's going on here?
By the way, any word from the owner? Did he open his mouth here after the game and say make any declarations for anything?
I have not seen. I have to get back because I've been talking to you, but yeah, it's interesting that because Jim Harbaugh's out there, because he's done it before, and because we've hit basically the time frame where his last coach was fired after his 3rd season. To me, it might have been a good idea to come out with a statement of public support, just in case the thought was out there that Brian Flores will be back in 2022.
I don't know. You saw the Glazer thing? Like, he had him in the safe, but then he mentioned that even if they make a change there or whatever, I did laugh when he says, well, Flores will be rehired right away. And I said, yeah, just like Adam Gase. Yeah, sure. He'll be rehired right away. You can go ahead and have him, bro. Let the exploding cigar move on to that into another team. That's fine. The Jets got the exploding cigar, and you can enjoy it if you want, bro.
No, but that one was weird because it went south with Adam Gase, and the Jets picked them up so quickly. It was completely crazy. Where
that one, yeah, you're right.
Credit to Flo, it didn't go south because again they regrouped and finished 9-8. So
right, this one would be a little odd to part ways, and then because this is one of those where you still have people that either believe or don't believe. I think most believe. I think very few are in my camp. Actually, I think that a minority are in my camp. I think the majority think that Flo is fine and he's headed in the right direction. So I think it would be a weird look. But you're right. The Adam Gase thing, it looked like it was already, it had fallen apart. You needed to pull the scab off.
No, and there are a couple of things, and then I encourage all the listeners here to check out the website alldolphins.com. I did a big thing on Flores heading into this game after heading into this final game of year 3, pointing out like pros and cons.
Yes, you did.
And there's some on both. There are clear, marks on both sides of the equation. And if we go back to today's game, I hope people don't go. And I understand it's cool that they finished 9-8. They completed a sweep against the Patriots, but this was a weird game for the Patriots. Understand that they psychologically they're coming in basically kind of set at 5 or 6 as a playoff seed. Maybe they can clinch the AFC East if Buffalo was going to lose at home against the Jets. Not going to happen, which it didn't. So if we're wondering whether the emotional, psychological, motivational edge here clearly had to be on the side of the Dolphins, and does that play a factor in them winning the game? Who knows?
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. And like he said, make sure you bookmark All Dolphins there on Sports Illustrated because he is pumping out articles on a consistent basis. I think every Dolphin fan on the planet should be locked in with Alain Poupart there at Sports Illustrated. Alain, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. We'll talk during the week.
Sounds like a plan.
Be good. There you go. The great Alain Poupart, baby.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.